Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey here, once again with another video on Legends of Tomorrow Season 2. Now this is going to be my review for episode 11 of Legends of Tomorrow Season 2, otherwise entitled Turncoat. So obviously before we go ahead, there will be spoilers of the episode within this review, so if you have not seen it, you might want to go watch it, then come back to this video later on. So obviously last episode, mainly towards the end might I say, we had the reveal that Rip Hunter was now a villain and he actually shot George Washington in the head. So essentially the Legends' job in this episode is to, stop that from happening. But one of the best things about Legends this season is now that Rip Hunter isn't a part of the team, is that the intro sort of gets swapped between the different characters. So we've had Sarah, we've had Martin Stein, we've had Ray do it, we've even had, obviously last episode, the Legion of Doom with Damien Dark did the intro. And this episode we had Heatwave do it, and my god, it was hilarious. I was just like, who would have thought I would laugh throughout the intro to Legends of Tomorrow? It was hilarious. Honestly, let's just have Heatwave do it every single week. Now, was I the only one thinking, when Rip was giving the English the assault rifles back in 1776, like, holy crap, that's one hell of a DLC drop for Call of Duty Revolutionary War. Like, imagine using that on the battlefield at that time. OP as hell. Now, the murder of Washington obviously was bait by the Legion of Doom, so this episode actually required the Legends to use tactics of some sort, which we don't see that often. Sometimes, or actually most of the time, might I say, the Legends just go in blind and it's really freeballing for the most of it. So the fact that there were some sort of tactics going on within this episode was really nice to see. Mainly ever since Rip left, there hasn't been any tactics. Like Sarah's tried to do them, Martin Stein's tried to do them. So they seem to be getting a good grip on how to do things without Rip there. Obviously, we saw Rip Hunter drop that EMP, and once again, I was thinking, are we sure this isn't a game of Call of Duty? Because dropping that EMP and it cuts out everything, he got one hell of a kill streak. So, that EMP definitely just made me think of Call of Duty for some reason. Now, Sarah getting shot by the now villainous Rip Hunter was pretty heavy and pretty lethal and shows how dark this version of Rip is now. But I thought it was pretty funny when Sarah made a joke about not being a fan of dying. Obviously, she's died for real once, and then she's also died, well, thought to have died before as well, when the boat went down before Leanne knew. So I just thought that was a nice little funny moment. Now, Heatwave conversing with George Washington. Who thought we would ever see that? Like, this is the one thing that Legends can do. It can just put you in the most random of situations and random of scenarios. We have Mick Rory, this dude who killed his family in the 1980s, I guess, 1990s, burnt them alive, became a villain. Now he's back in 1776 having a conversation with George Washington as they're both about to be sent to get hung. Like, what the hell? Only one show could do that, and it's Legends of Tomorrow. But I thought it was pretty cool that Mick, or Heatwave, gave George Washington like a motivational speech. It's just insane. Now, was I the only one thinking when they were on the Wave Rider and Rip had come with those troops and they were like storming the Wave Rider and Jax had put all those booby traps? Was I the only one thinking Home Alone? I think that's what they were going for, because this was sort of like a Christmas episode for Legends of Tomorrow, and Home Alone is obviously a Christmas movie. So even like the presents, how it said Merry Christmas douchebag, and just like the different booby traps that Jax set up. Jax must love Home Alone. Now, obviously in this episode we had Nate and Amaya getting a bit snuggly, if you want to call it that. Obviously towards the end of the episode, Amaya's like, oh, okay, I can't do that with a teammate or, a workmate, if you want to call it that. Obviously, Nate has 100% feelings for her, and I'm pretty sure Amaya does as well for him, but she just doesn't want to express it at this moment. So I'm not sure how they're going to go with this in the future. I think it will be something that goes ahead for at least the majority of the season towards the end. But I'm not 100% sure what's going on when we go into Season 3 of Legends, whether Amaya's going to stay on the team, Nate's going to stay on the team and stuff like that. So I guess that will really decide whether they go ahead with them being a couple on the show. Now, one thing I was looking forward to in this episode, I knew it was coming because it was in the trailer and I couldn't wait to see it in the actual episode, was Ray Palmer in his Atom suit without the power versus that rat, which he was complaining about earlier to Heatwave, who is obviously eating all the time, and that's why the rat's there. So just seeing, it was like Jurassic Park almost, like running away from a giant, just dinosaur-like creature. Obviously, we've already had Ray run away from a dinosaur in episode 1 this season, so at least he had some practice, but it was hilarious. I just thought it was really, really funny. Now, the most emotional part of this episode, like this episode had a lot of laughs, but it really did have some emotional moments, and the big one was Jax dealing with Rip Hunter, who was like strangling Sarah and just trying to get Jax to reveal where the Spear of Destiny part was. And obviously Jax does reveal the location to Rip, who just goes against what he was thinking, which obviously shows how villainous this version of Rip is, and he temporarily kills Sarah. Obviously he kills Sarah, but it's for a temporary amount of time because Gideon comes back online and saves her. But I was like, okay, so that's 3 times that Sarah's died now, so yeah. Now that scene with Heatwave and George Washington just kicking ass was just great. I never thought I would see George Washington headbutt someone, so tick that off your bucket list. But it looks like Heatwave and George Washington are BFFs. Like, Heatwave even got that statue, which is so good. I couldn't believe that. That's just hilarious. That's just so good. And then we finish off the episode with Christmas Wave Rider style. Now, it's a bit late, but obviously, as I say, better late than never. But as Nate says earlier in the episode, they're in the temporal zone and you don't know what date it is. There is really no date. There is no date for them. So it's not like it would have been random if they just celebrated Christmas on like the mid-season finale like Arrow and Flash did, and also Supergirl. Oh, not Supergirl. Supergirl celebrated Thanksgiving on their mid-season finale. But Flash and Arrow celebrated Christmas on theirs. Would have been random if Legends did it because they're not at Christmas. So this was the perfect time for them to actually celebrate Christmas because they were actually on a date where it was Christmas Day. Even though it was in 1776, but still. Now, just a heads up, Legends is off next week. Like The Flash, we do have Supergirl and Arrow to fill our superhero TV needs, or DC TV needs, might I say. But overall, I thought this episode was great. I loved it. It's these episodes of Legends where I'm like, it's so fun. It's one of the positives about Legends where they can do crazy stuff like this. It's crazy, and it sounds so silly, but it works off so well, and it incorporates all these different characters. Obviously, some bits can be messy, but you can't take this show too serious. Like, you're not going to go, oh, this show deserves an Emmy, this show deserves a Golden Globe. It's a silly show, but it works so well, and it's why I think this season has been so successful, because last season, they took themselves way too serious. They tried to be like an Arrow or a Flash in some way. Like, Flash can be silly sometimes, but a lot of the time it is serious. Same with Supergirl, it can do comedic moments, but most of the time it's serious. They took themselves too serious, and I think this season they've really embraced the craziness and the wackiness that this show is. And obviously, I think removing Hawkgirl and Hawkman from the show really does allow them to do that, because I'm sorry, but those two characters weren't really the most fun characters. Like, they were okay to have on the show, but for them to embrace what the show is now, if Hawkgirl and Hawkman were still on the show, it wouldn't work. But this episode was just another example of that. Like, Heatwave and George Washington hanging out, like, holy crap, like, that's just insane. Ray Palmer as the size of like a little Lego piece versing a giant rat, like, what the hell? And Sarah died again, and then she came back to life again. So yeah, this show is insane. I love it. I think it's definitely my favorite show at the moment. It's killing it. It's killing it. Hopefully it continues. I think it's got 7 episodes left. 7? No, 6. It's got 6 episodes left, and hopefully goes strong. Next episode, they're going back to the 500 AD, I think it is, to the times of King Arthur, Excalibur, Camelot. What the hell is it Excalibur? Is Camelot King Arthur? I think it is, whatever. They're going back to 500 AD. That's all I know. It's going to be insane. I cannot wait. I will do a trailer breakdown the next couple of days after all my Arrow stuff, so be on the lookout for that. But thanks for watching, guys. If you did enjoy the video, we very much appreciate it. If you could leave a like on it, let me know in the comment section below. What was your favorite part of the episode? A lot of the stuff was just insane and just funny and crazy, and yeah, it's Legends. That's what you should expect. And if you are new around here, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.